Here's what it looks like in the Central District of Seattle. Hey there, everyone. Today I'm going to take you on another driving tour of the Central District of Seattle, Washington. It's Brennan, your favorite realtor, and I'm out today taking a little video tour so that you can see what it might look like if you were actually here. If you don't know anything about me, I used to work at Microsoft and I left a couple years ago to help people build wealth through real estate and broker a life that they love. So today I'm taking you on this tour of one of my favorite neighborhoods, which is the Central District in Seattle. I have actually lived in the Central District before, not for the past few years, but I lived in the Central District for about 5 years. And that was after I moved to Seattle 2 years prior to that. And my property there is actually now an Airbnb in that neighborhood as well. So I spent a lot of time in the neighborhood. I know it very well. I knew it a lot and saw it change a lot during the time that I lived there. So I'm super excited to take you on this tour and show you some of the sites of the Central District and where it's exactly located in Seattle. Okay, let's get going. We're going to start driving now. We're starting this driving tour heading south on 12th Avenue. We are going to be going right past Seattle University. This is the western border of the Central District. So we just left Capitol Hill, which borders Central District. You'll see Rhine House on our left, a popular place to go out. Seattle University is on our right. And we're heading south down 12th Avenue, like I mentioned. So I think 12th Avenue, there's not really a technical border, but it would be sort of the technical border of the Central District. And we're actually going to take a left on a street that's very near and dear to me, which is Cherry Street, because this is the street that I would take home to the Central District every single day that I lived there. So, like I mentioned before, I had lived in the Central District for about 5 years. I was in and out a couple different times, but a total of about 5 years. It is super close to Capitol Hill, which makes it a great spot to be if you don't want to be on Capitol Hill, but you want to be close to Capitol Hill so you can still go out and enjoy the bars and restaurants and shops of Capitol Hill. It's a little bit more residential, so you get a little bit more homes, a little less commercial space in the Central District. So you can see we're still close to Seattle University here on the right. On the left, we see some of the last few apartment buildings of the Central District. There's not a lot of apartments in Central District. It's a little less dense than a place like Capitol Hill. Okay, so we are headed up Cherry Street. The other big prominent sort of institution of Central District is the hospital here. So there's the Northwest Kidney Center, which we're passing, as well as Swedish Hospital here on our right. So this is a big hospital system. There are a lot of nurses and doctors around this area because of the hospital. And I know that, especially as an Airbnb host, I've had those nurses stay or family members stay at my Airbnb because this is close. And then on the left, you can kind of see like there's a mix of single family homes as well as townhomes in the Central District. So we're on 19th now. This is probably a great place to start to kind of show you what some of the homes look like. It is older homes similar to North Capitol Hill, if you've watched that video, where they were all primarily built like in the early 1900s. They may have been remodeled since then or rebuilt, but you can kind of get an idea from these homes what these look like. So they're a little bit larger. They do sit on somewhat larger lots, but they're typically nice, like either four square or like all American kind of style architecture in the Central District. And this is a lot of Seattle, to be honest. Some townhomes on my right, but getting into what the Central District actually looks like, this is a good example of some of the housing. Typically streets are including parking is what I'm trying to say. There's parking on the streets. So you do see a modern house there on the left, but for the most part, a lot of cuter older homes. We're on Alder now. You can see the home here on the corner. It's a more indicative of what's here in the Central District, and then one here to the left that's more modern. I think I've actually been in that one before. So some of these were actually built like in the 2000s if a previous home was torn down and rebuilt. And we are seeing more and more of that, to be honest, in this area, because older homes that if they're not taken care of or they need a lot of rehab, they may just be torn down. Now, the street that we are coming up on is going to be a major street in Central District. So here we are on Yesler. So Cherry, Yesler, and Jackson are kind of the three major east to west streets that run through Central District, and those get to all the way from the west side to the east side of the Central District, in my opinion. They'll both go all the way through. So this is Yesler. This is also a little area where we do have a little bit of commercial. So there's a good hair salon, a spa and nail place, and then there's also Broadcast Coffee here. There are some condos that are kind of built like townhomes here on the right that I have clients who live in, more apartment buildings on the left, and then you'll see other sort of townhomes over here as well. Like if you look to the right, there's townhomes there. So a lot of the townhomes are newer construction, and then a lot of the single family homes are older construction. I do have a lot of clients who live here in the Central District. This is a primary spot. I've sold one of the units here on the left that's built more like a condo on the top floor. So a lot of different variety here. One of the things that I love about the Central District is actually that it's so close to everything. It's really easy to get to I-90 or 520, which both go over to the east side from the Central District. Those are both great places to be located next to, especially if you're driving or commuting to the east side during the day. And then the other thing I love about it is its proximity to Capitol Hill, that you typically have a little bit more yard space throughout a place like the Central District. Okay, so we're working our way through. You can see there's more townhomes here, a little more indicative. And now we're at Martin Luther King Jr. Way. And so this I would call pretty much the border of the Central District on the east side. You know, it goes a little further east than this, but it's not a lot. It starts to get into Madrona, Leschi, those sorts of neighborhoods. So it's a little less of Central District, in my opinion. We're now going south on MLK Jr. Way. We're going to go over to Jackson. So Jackson, in my opinion, is almost the southern border of the Central District. So we're actually going to head west on Jackson and take you through Jackson before we go back up to Cherry Street. So again, Jackson is another more commercial street with more houses in between these three major streets. So you have Reckless Noodles, one of my favorite. You have Temple Coffee. You have barbecue here. You also have Standard Brewing here. So a lot of good staples that a lot of people in the Central District like. You can walk to them. And then you also have some new development here. So there's a Walgreens, but there's also this new development here of apartment buildings with Amazon Fresh or Amazon Grocery in the basement here. There used to be a Starbucks here on the corner that has shut down. There's a plant store over here. So you have a couple different good spots. There's the Fish Guys, Catfish Corner, some good spots that you can stop in at, eat, drink. Nice little neighborhood amenities, I would call them, to go to if you live in the neighborhood. If you don't want to go over to Madrona or over to Capitol Hill, you can stop in these spots and enjoy. So right now we're going north on 23rd. So you'll see that we are going up. So we were at the what I would call almost the bottom border of Central District, and now we're going up to almost the northern border. It's really Cherry or Union Street. I think it's probably more Union, which is further north than Cherry. But we'll go up, and up here as we go north on 23rd. 23rd is a major north to south street throughout the city. It will actually get you all the way up to 520 if you're going across the bridge to the east side, or it goes up into the University District. Okay, so as we go along 23rd, You'll see as we come up here, we are going to school zone, and this is for Garfield High School, which is one of the bigger Seattle public schools. It's kind of right in the center of Seattle, so you'll see it coming up on the right here. It's a big high school. There's also actually a public swimming pool next to it, which is underground. I've actually never been in it. And then there's also like baseball field, sort of a soccer field. There is a track that you can get onto for the high school. So it's here on the right. Famous Izel's Chicken here on the left as well. I think it's the original one. I'm not certain on that, but I think it is. And then we're coming up to what I mentioned before, which is Cherry Street, one of my favorites, one that I always took on the way home. So I'll take you down Cherry Street. That's what we were on before. So now we're going to go east onto Cherry Street to see what this looks like. We're still in the school zone here, so you can see what this is like. Now there is on the left here, elementary or junior high school that is also in this area. Tennis courts on the right, kind of nice. Some of my favorite staples from living here: Twilight Exit, a nice dive bar, Central Cafe, super fun. And then you will find, honestly, the best Ethiopian food in the Central District. So there's a few right here. You also have MBC, Meteor Brewing Company here. And then the Ethiopian food here on the right. Fats Chicken and Waffles, which I love up here. And Cherry Street Thai. Some of my favorites and staples. Obviously, you can tell I lived around here. There's also Golden Wheat Bakery. If you keep following Cherry to the east, you'll come across Golden Wheat Bakery, which is great. And that takes you honestly right into Madrona, which is the neighboring neighborhood. Okay, so now we're turning north back onto MLK Junior Way. So you can see mix here of townhomes, single family homes all around here. MLK Junior Way is a thoroughfare as well. It runs parallel to 23rd, north to south, just like Cherry, Union, Yesler, and Jackson are all parallel and run east to west. So it is a busier road here. I'll actually take you off before we get to Union so you can see some more of the residential street. So you get an idea of like what these are more single family homes here in this neighborhood, what they look like. There's kind of a mixture, just to be honest, like not all of them are always upkept or kept up well. Others are completely rebuilt or brand new, and then others are remodeled. So there's a good variety of homes around here that make up the Central District, honestly. And it is kind of on a little bit of a hill. I would call it a rolling hill because you come over a hill, Capitol Hill, to get to Central District, and then you kind of go back down the hill before you go back up to Madrona. So it is definitely not always flat over here, to put it lightly or easily. Okay, we're back at Union. I'm facing north now, but I'm going to turn left and go west to end our tour. Like I mentioned, Union, in my opinion, is probably the north end of the Central District. You can see a little bit more commercial up here as well. So we have coffee, Lowrider cookies. Stencil is an apartment building. There's cannabis shop here, a weed shop. And then I'll take you past the infamous Uncle Ike's. This one is more famous than the Capitol Hill location because I believe this was the first one. We just passed Feed Co. Burgers. There's Ray's Donuts, which is awesome. These are all new apartments right here on this square. We're at 23rd and Union. All new developed apartments. Uncle Ike's is here on the right. We have PCC Community Markets. That's a local grocery store here in Seattle. Really good foods, probably a rival to like Whole Foods. And then Tacos Chuki's on the left, amazing tacos, highly recommend, as well as there's some other coffee shops around here as well. So there's a lot going on right in this little area. It's definitely packed with a lot of different commercial spaces, and I think that was the intention with this space, was to make it a little bit more of a town square style area. You have a lot of different stuff right here. makes it easy to access for anyone and everyone living in the Central District. There you have it. That's the tour of the Central District, one of my favorite neighborhoods in Seattle. If you are thinking of moving here or thinking of selling your home here and you want someone who knows the neighborhood, we would be more than happy to help you. We'd love the opportunity. So if you want to chat all things Central District or all things Seattle, just click on the links below. You can call, text, email, set up time on the Calendly. We're more than happy to help you. We'd love to be your Seattle real estate resource. And if there are other parts of the Central District you think that I should be showing or that you want to see, be sure to leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you along for the ride, quite literally.